Save the date. The Nats Chat end-of-year podcast party will be Friday night, October 10th at Walters. Start time is TBD.
A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
Here's the pitch. Swinging a line drive, shallow right, racing in his Cruz. He dives. He caught it. Welcome back, Dylan Cruz. Headlong diving catch toward the infield. Marsh gets back to first. Dylan Cruz, first chance in right, is a diving catch to rob Castellanos of a base hit. Beautiful play there by Dylan Cruz. 2-1 Phillies, 3 balls and a strike. The set at the belt. The pitch on the way. Swinging a ground ball. Base hit. Past the diving shortstop Turner. DeYoung scores the tying run. Adams being waved in. Marsh's throw is offline. And the Nationals lead. Adams scores standing up. Tena delivers. The Nationals 3, the Phillies 2. Tena drives one through the drawn-in infield for a base hit to left center field. His biggest hit of the season, perhaps. The Nationals are in front for the first time tonight.
Henry, extreme first base side of the rubber. The kick and the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. And a Curly W's in the books. The first major league save for Cole Henry, slamming the door in the 9th inning. And for the Phillies, the tying run left at third base.
And welcome to Nats Chat. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. Mark Zuckerman is off for this installment of the podcast, but I am joined by the owner and executive producer of the podcast, Tim Shovers. The Nationals this past Tuesday night, as you may recall, suffered an 8-5 loss at the Kansas City Royals in a game that the Nats lost despite out-hitting the Royals 10-6. Well, the Nats on Thursday evening beat the National League East leading Philadelphia Phillies 3-2 at Nationals Park in Game 1 of a 4-game series, and in a game that the Nats won despite getting out-hit 10-6. Go figure. This was some game, a game in which the Nats overcame a 2-1 7th-inning deficit by scoring 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th. A very nice win for the Nats. They, in MLB's 2025 regular season now, are 49-72. This installment of Nats Chat is brought to us by Mason Kalfas. He is the top legal recruiter in Washington, D.C. Mason has been with us since our first season. You can reach him at 202-486-3535. Coming up later in the show, an update on the Nats AAA affiliate, the Rochester Red Wings, from the voice of the Red Wings, Josh Wetzel. But Dylan Cruz is back. He is no longer with the Red Wings. He now is back at the major league level, and he on Thursday evening, in returning from a near 3-month-long absence caused by a left oblique strain, was impactful. He is the Nats starting right fielder and number 2 batter, 1 for 3 with a single, a walk, and a stolen base, and he made a diving catch, and the Nats corresponding roster move to the reinstatement of Cruz from the 60-day injured list was them designating first baseman Nathaniel Lowe for assignment. We have a lot to discuss on this installment of the Nats Chat podcast. It's great to have you with us. But Tim, Nats interim manager Miguel Cairo, during his postgame press conference on Thursday night, said that this game had a playoff-like atmosphere. This was a battle, and this was one of the Nats' better wins this season.
Definitely. I mean, this is an important game for Philadelphia, who's in a tight race down the stretch with the Mets and for playoff positioning. The Phillies came in. They were dealt a tough blow. They had some travel issues getting in from Cincinnati, so they had to fly out this morning. So that led to the Nationals' advantage, and they took advantage of it. I like the way Miguel Cairo approached it. Some very intense managing in terms of the way he handled the bullpen in the late innings. The team had a little bit of a jolt with some of the roster moves before the game, which maybe not everyone anticipated. A busy and good day in Navy Yard for the Nationals.
Yeah, and the pitching in this game was superb. Brad Lord, awesome again. The Nats bullpen was outstanding. We'll get to all that. And, if not for the return of Dylan Crews, I think the pitching would be the headline item. But Dylan Crews is back. This is a big deal, right? One of the centerpieces of this Nats rebuild. Crews, like I said, impactful here. So good to see him back. So good to see him be good from the get-go. He is the Nats starting right fielder and number 2 batter, 1 for 3 with a single, a walk, and a stolen base. So the Nats on Thursday afternoon announced having returned Crews from his minor league rehab assignment and having reinstated him from the 60-day injured list. He had been on that since July 22nd. He, prior to that, had been on the 10-day injured list since May 21st. All of this due to a left oblique strain that ended up keeping him out for nearly 3 months. Basically half of the regular season, Crews was out due to this injury. Crews on Thursday evening in his first plate appearance back, bottom of the first, a 1-out single on a ball that went off Phillies shortstop and ex-Nat Trey Turner and through the left side of the infield. But here's the takeaway from that single. Exit velocity of 108.4 miles per hour per StatCast. A well-struck ball by Dylan Crews, and he had to steal a second base. And then Crews in the top of the 6th made a diving forward catch on a win-out first pitch lineout by Nick Castellanos with a runner on first, and the Nats down 2-1. We all get it. How Dylan Crews does the rest of this season is a big deal, but so good to see him back. And like I said, him being good from the get-go. I feel like psychologically that matters here, and he was good on Thursday evening.
Matters a ton. Comes off the IL, back to the Nats, or off the rehab stint, and plays well immediately. That diving catch you mentioned, I believe that was the first ball hit in his direction all night, and he comes through, the ball finds you, makes a great play there, contributes offensively. I know the rehab stint felt a little bit longer than we would prefer. Like, I thought he was going to join the Nats for their road trip in San Francisco, or definitely by Kansas City. It seemed like forever till we got to this homestand with the Phillies. But I do like it that the Nats cared enough to get his timing back and work it out in the minor leagues. I understand why they were a little bit slow with that. And so far, for one game, we're rewarded with such. And as you said, Al, 3 months ago when he was on the team, it was a different season. This is well before that Marlins-Rockies homestand. Davey Martinez was well employed by the Nationals. So he's coming to a different situation here. But nonetheless, it's going to be very interesting to see how the final month and a half goes for him.
It's arguably the single biggest storyline for the Nats the rest of this season. Like, there's not a ton to sink your teeth into, but how Crews does is a big deal. How Brady House does is a big deal. Of course, how James Wood and Mackenzie Gore do is a big deal. But Crews, you could argue, is number 1 on that list. So welcome back, Dylan Crews. The Nats won this game despite one of their best players, shortstop C.J. Abrams, not playing in the game. He did not play due to rest. The Nats got big hits in this game from Paul DeJong and Jose Tena. I mean, think about that. The Nats on Thursday evening defeated the mighty Phillies on the backs of the likes of Paul DeJong and Jose Tena. But DeJong has been hot lately, and he homered on Thursday evening. He is the Nats starting shortstop and number 4 batter. Went 1 for 3 with a solo homer and a walk. DeJong in the Nats 1-run 4th, had a 1-out first pitch solo homer to left field to tie the game at 1. And Jose Tena, who has barely been playing lately, and who we all viewed as a big-time candidate to be the victim of the corresponding roster move to the activation of Dylan Crews. Well, Tena on Thursday evening came through with a big hit. He is the Nats starting second baseman and number 8 batter. Went 1 for 3 with a 2-run single. Tena in the Nats 2-run 7th. Had a 1-out, bases loaded, opposite field, 2-run single through the left side of the infield for a 3-2 Nats lead. So you think about this game from an offensive perspective. No C.J. Abrams. James Wood did have a hit. He had a single, but he also struck out 3 times, so it's not like he had a big game. He served, by the way, as the Nats starting DH and number 1 batter in this game. But DeJong and Tena coming through for the Nats and coming through with the 2 biggest hits in this game.
Yeah, they stepped up. Paul DeJong, he's going to really be all over the diamond. I'm interested to see what the next few weeks look for him, or if he's a victim of the next roster crunch, if we get there. But it was good for Jose Tena to get in the lineup today because he hasn't played for a bit, as you mentioned. Sort of prove why you're still on the roster almost after they kept him over Nathaniel Lowe. And then he has the game-winning hit, so it worked out well there. If he's going to be on the roster, I hope he gets a lot of at-bats and opportunities. I know he had plenty last year. I don't really know where to classify Jose Tena. Is he a quad A guy? Is he a triple A guy? I don't think is a major leaguer, but might as well find out here down the stretch run. And, so it is nice that when Abrams takes a day off, who is by far their best middle infielder, you're fine with who the two guys are up the middle, even when it's, no Garcia and no Abrams.
It's almost like the Nats played Tena on Thursday evening to justify having not optioned him to Rochester, and he justified that justifying by coming through with that 2-run single. Hey, are you a law firm partner or associate looking to change firms for reasons such as compensation or a better platform? Mason Kalfas, he is the top legal recruiter in Washington, D.C. He wants to help you improve your career. Mason Kalfas specializes in working with partners in the D.C. area in various regulatory areas such as antitrust, securities, energy, and banking. When you select a legal recruiter, you want someone to go to bat for your career who cares about you and your goals. Mason has placed partners at most of the largest and most elite firms in the U.S. in D.C., New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and other cities. He understands the process and how to improve your candidacy, compensation, and career trajectory. Mason and his team of 10 legal recruiters at Zenith Legal will get you the free agent contract that you deserve. He can't promise Juan Soto numbers, but Mason will maximize your value and keep the focus on your long-term goals. Don't get stuck in the minors or on a rebuilding team with cheap owners. Call Mason today at 202-486-3535.
A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
It gives a lot of confidence facing this team. They're a really good hitting team, and being able to put up strong outings against them, it's a huge confidence boost for the future.
I thought that the game would be in the 8th. You got the best hitter coming up. You got Harper, you got Castellano. I wanted them to face my best pitcher, and in that inning, and my closer is Ferrer, and Cole did an excellent job coming in and saved the game.
So we had what the Nats did offensively in this game, but with the game, the Nats pitching was the thing. The Nats pitching in this 3-2 win over the Phillies on Thursday evening was outstanding. Another good outing for starting pitcher Brad Lord. He allowed 2 runs in 6 innings. He gave up 7 hits, which were 2 doubles and 5 singles. He issued a walk. He recorded 3 strikeouts. He threw a lot of strikes, 92 pitches, 60 strikes, 32 balls. Look, he wasn't dominant, and he gave up some hits, but a lot of the contact that he gave up was really soft. I thought he was impressive again, did a very nice job navigating his way through that imposing Phillies lineup, and this super encouraging development of Brad Lord continues. Lord now for this regular season over 2 stints in the bullpen and 2 stints in the rotation, 40 games including 11 starts, 91 innings, ERA of 3.26, whip of 1.22. Is there a more pleasant surprise on this team than Brad Lord this season?
No, not even close. He is definitely the most pleasant surprise. Congratulations, Brad Lord, on making the 2026 Washington Nationals opening day starting rotation. You've clearly proven yourself. And I was listening to the Phillies radio call early in the game, and they said that they had been told before off air that Lord was maybe the MVP of the Nats this season, which you can make that argument, certainly, but I just hadn't heard anyone say that. So clearly someone in the press box had said that to them, and they agreed with the call and brought it on air. You expect Brad Lord to pitch well when he takes over. Jake Irvin last year was basically the number 2 starter for this team. That's long gone. Right now, that number 2 starter is Brad Lord.
Yeah, MVP of the 2025 Nats. That's like saying who's the nicest guy in prison, but I understand the sentiment. I also would say this. James Wood is the MVP of the Nats, okay? He's been the best player on the Nats, but I understand where whoever said that might have been coming from. I mean, Brad Lord is a guy who is not going to win National League Rookie of the Year, but he may get some votes. You know, Brad Lord technically is a rookie. 18th round selection in the 2022 MLB draft out of the University of South Florida. I'm not saying he's going to be a top 3 vote getter, but he deserves some recognition here for the season that he's having. And I mentioned his innings total. I think that's worth highlighting. 91 innings. Even though he's had the 2 stints in the bullpen, his workload is such to where he's pitched a lot and he's accumulated a good number of innings. Second stint now in the rotation. He's at 91 innings. That's not some tiny sample size in terms of a season-long workload. And the ERA is at 3.26, and another good outing in this game on Thursday evening. You know, we're no longer talking about him needing to be stretched out. He went 6 innings in this game, and he did very well. And the Nats bullpen in this game did very well. 4 Nats relievers combined for 3 scoreless innings. Jackson Rutledge tossed 2/3 of a scoreless inning. He in the top of the 7th faced 3 batters and got 2 outs. Shinosuke Ogasawara, he faced 1 batter and got 1 out, which was a swinging strikeout of the Phillies' number 2 batter, ex-Nat Kyle Schwarber, to end the top of the 7th with a runner on first, and the Nats down 2-1. And then the intrigue really got going. Nats interim manager Miguel Cairo brought in his ace reliever, Jose A. Ferrer, to begin the top of the 8th. This with the Phillies' numbers 3 through 5 batters coming up, and the Nats having just taken a 3-2 lead. Ferrer tossed a scoreless top of the 8th on just 12 pitches. A really good job by Ferrer, who, I tell you, since being elevated to this role of closer/ace reliever, has done a good job. I give the guy full credit. And bravo to Cairo for not being, as I like to say, a slave to the save. Cairo doing the progressive thing of deploying the ace reliever in a non-ninth inning. That was the game. That top of the 8th, the Phillies' numbers 3 through 5 batters coming up, and Cairo correctly went with Ferrer in that spot. Now, I don't know about you, but I wondered if Cairo might bring Ferrer back out for the top of the 9th. Ferrer only threw 12 pitches in that scoreless top of the 8th. Cairo did not go back to Ferrer. Instead, went with Cole Henry, who, as we have discussed, hasn't exactly been lights out lately. But Henry came through. He tossed a scoreless top of the 9th for the save. He generated an 8-pitch swinging strikeout of the Phillies' number 1 batter, ex-Nat Trey Turner, with a runner on third to end the game. Really good work by the Nats bullpen. Very interesting, and I thought impressive bullpen management by Miguel Cairo.
Yes, it was. Impressive indeed. Rarely do you sort of see that maneuvering, I would say, by a last place team a lot. Like, that's more something a team who needs to win every single day. But I love it. He was not a slave to the save. Harper was due up in the 8th. Heart of the order coming up. Walking the tightrope, got the 1-run lead, brings in his best arm for that. I really like Cairo doing that there. And I agree with him on not bringing out Ferrer for the 9th inning, because I know Ferrer had pitched the day before, and something tells me that Miguel Cairo wants to win this series. And maybe he's saving him for a 3rd night in a row if the Nats are so fortunate on Friday. I was surprised to see Cole Henry on there, and it started off rough. Leadoff guy gets on. He falls behind in the count to Edmundo Sosa. But I got to say, Al, I'm curious what your opinion was here when Sosa dropped the bunt after it looked like he was going to get walked. It looked like it was going to be 1st and 2nd, no outs. Instead, it's runner on 2nd with 1 out. Normally, I like the bunt, I have to say. But right there, I'm on your side right there. I think it was a mistake by the Phillies and gave Henry a break right there, and he was able to calm down and recalibrate.
If you look at run expectancy, sacrifice bunting almost always lowers run expectancy in an inning. That's just the fact when it comes to that. The other thing, too, is the Phillies have this lineup with a bunch of, shall we say, boppers, right? So when you have bunting going on, you're eliminating the opportunity for the extra base hit. I do want to also note this with that top of the 9th inning. Josh Bell on a 1-out ground out by Bryson Stott. That was a pretty well-hit ball by Stott down the line. Bell, who's playing first base with Nathaniel Lowe having been DFA'd, did a really good job of getting his ample body in front of the ball and blocking the ball and making the put out. Look, was it the most beautiful defensive play? Maybe not, but it was a super effective defensive play. It was a gutsy defensive play by Josh Bell. And, it's not unlike in hockey, especially in the Stanley Cup playoffs, when guys will just throw their bodies in front of shots to generate block shots. You put your body in front of a puck that's coming at you 80, 90, 100 miles per hour, and you absorb the blow for the betterment of the team. And I felt like that's what Bell was doing in that instance, but it worked, and I give him full credit. That was a key play in that ninth inning.
Two things with the Bell play. One, just a great veteran move. Guy takes over first base after Lowe gets DFA'd, steps up in the ninth inning. He is the veteran leader on this team, so I thought it was a apropos move on this night for the ninth inning of this game. Also, Al, I think I've told this story on air, but it makes me think as we compliment his defensive play. 2017, I go to a random game at Pittsburgh. Sitting next to this big Pirates fan. He's telling me about the big first baseman, Josh Bell, who's a great hitter, and he's the worst fielder he's ever seen. Next play, Bell dropped a routine throw over to first. And so anytime, that was my first impression of Josh Bell. So anytime he makes a great play, I kind of chuckle at that memory.
Give him credit. He did well. No one's saying he's Keith Hernandez circa 1986 in terms of first base defense, but a very important play in that ninth inning. And the Nats do get the win. We understand it. The Nats are not a good team this season. We understand it. Wins and losses right now don't really matter all that much from a standpoint of the standings, but this team needs all of the good, positive energy that the team can get. This has been a brutal season. To get a win like this, to kick off a big series like this with a win like this, I think is good. So I was happy to see the Nats get this victory. Remember, too, what started on Thursday evening, not just a 4-game set against the NL East leading Phillies, but a 7-game homestand featuring also a 3-game series against the New York Mets and a 13-game stretch featuring games against the Phillies, Mets, and New York Yankees. This is a rough run that the Nats are on for the next few weeks, and the Nats began that run with a win. Hey, it's Al Galdi for Window Nation. Labor Day is coming. Summer is winding down in the Washington, D.C. area. Your air conditioning is working overtime, just trying to keep your house and you cool and comfortable. What can you do to make a difference? Well, you can replace your old or builder-grade windows with windows from Window Nation. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com and tell Window Nation that you want the following deal that you're about to hear about here on the Nats Chat podcast. This month only, you can schedule a consult and get 50% off all window styles. Plus, you could even get your windows with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. 866-90NATION or windownation.com. Tell Window Nation that Al Galdi from the Nats Chat podcast sent you. Window Nation windows are outstanding. They are custom made from high-quality materials with precision fit. Bottom line, your home stays comfortable year-round. Window Nation windows are even available in over 1,500 styles and colors. So you'll get the windows that you want to protect and beautify your home. With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and over 3 million windows installed, you can trust Window Nation for quality and service. Hurry! This 50% off all windows sale ends August 31st, so don't miss out. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. Schedule your estimate and tell Window Nation that Al Galdi from the Nats Chat podcast sent you.
A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Stands slightly open for the left-handed hitting first baseman. Lugo working quickly. He's to the belt, and now the pitch. Swing a fly ball, deep right field, back toward the corner, and this is a grand slam. It clears the Kansas City bullpen, and the Nationals with one swing take a 4-0 lead here in the top of the first. It is Lowe's first career grand slam. It's the Nationals' first grand slam since April of last year, and it comes on a curveball, and there was no doubt about it.
All right, now to the corresponding roster move to the Nats reinstating Dylan Crews from the 60-day injured list on Thursday afternoon. The Nats did not option a player to AAA Rochester. No, they instead designated first baseman Nathaniel Lowe for assignment. Now, I would say a shocking move, but if you are a regular listener to the Nats Chat podcast, you heard Mark Zuckerman introduce the possibility of this move on the last installment of this podcast. But I still would say that this is a move that is, at the very least, mildly surprising. I mean, I don't think that most people were anticipating this being the move, the corresponding move. And I think the why behind that is super interesting. But you take a step back. So this past December 22nd, the Nats announced having traded lefty reliever Robert Garcia to the Texas Rangers for Nathaniel Lowe. Now, the trade to me made a ton of sense. You trade a reliever in Garcia, who the Nats had claimed off waivers, for a first baseman in Lowe, who had been one of the more consistently productive first basemen in MLB over the last few seasons. So Lowe, in each of his 4 regular seasons with the Rangers, 2021 through 2024, had a wins above replacement per Baseball Reference of at least 2.3. But Nathaniel Lowe, as we know, was really bad for the Nats this season. If we're going to stick with that measurement of WAR, he, for this regular season, as of games through Wednesday, had a WAR per Baseball Reference of minus 0.3. He, for the Nats, was a below replacement level player. He was a big-time disappointment, both offensively and defensively. But I wonder this, and I'm interested in your opinion on this. The Nats DFA'ing Lowe was not the move that had to be made. There was a very simple, easy, non-confrontational move that could have been made, and that would have been optioning Jose Tena back to AAA Rochester. Like I said, Tena has barely been playing lately. And remember, too, rosters are about to expand in September, so you could have optioned Tena with the idea being, we'll bring him back up come September. Instead, the Nats used this opportunity to DFA Lowe, to cut ties with Lowe, to get rid of Lowe. And I wonder this, and I don't know how you don't wonder this. Are there reasons other than the stats, the performance, that led to the Nats DFA'ing Lowe? Are there reasons, attitude, demeanor, work ethic, clubhouse presence, etc., that were in play here and that led to the Nats doing this, DFA'ing Nathaniel Lowe? This didn't have to be the move, and yet this ended up being the move. And I'm not mad about this being the move, but I think it's worth asking this question. I think it's worth discussing. Where do you think this really came from? The Nats going so far as to DFA one of their bigger acquisitions this past offseason, Nathaniel Lowe. This is not a money move, okay? You DFA a guy, you still owe him his money, his $10.3 million. He's still getting that, so this isn't like a cost-cutting measure by the Nats. What did you make of the Nats choosing the DFAing of Nathaniel Lowe as the corresponding roster move to activating Dylan Crews?
I was surprised, but I was not stunned. I would have been stunned if not for Mark's explanation the day before. Props to Mark for sort of laying that out there and leading the breadcrumbs to Mike DiBartolo's thinking. What Mark pointed out is that he is arbitration eligible at the end of the season, or was while he was with the Nats. And with that, his 10 point whatever will become roughly $13 million next season. And it's like they're not paying him $13-ish million. And I sort of realized that, oh my gosh, Nathaniel Lowe is not going to be on this team in 2026. I hadn't realized that leading up to the trade deadline. Not that the Nats would have got anything for him, but sort of in the last few weeks, it's crystallized that his time was done with the Nationals. And so I love that DiBartolo did what you and I have talked about, which is every decision should be what matters for the team come October 1, come February 1 of next year. And this was a move that's sticking towards February 1 of next year. It also sends a message to the point you say, Al, is it more than just performance? I don't have any inside reporting here, but my strong guess is yes. And I bet we're going to see some stories come out in the next few days with that as time goes on, because He's the highest paid player on the team for a team that has been well documented the last few years in that they will not sit guys if they're making money, a la Patrick Corbin and Trevor Williams. And they could have gotten rid of Josh Bell months ago. They weren't going to do that. And so my guess is that it was related to that. And I like that DeBartolo did this move here. It also sends a message to this young team and says, hey, Dalen Lyle, for instance, a few months ago, like April of this year, Dalen Lyle is in, I believe, Double-A, Harrisburg, and Nathaniel Lowe is a Gold Glove first baseman that recently won a World Series. And now look in August. One guy's on the Nationals and another guy is currently on the couch. So it's just a message to your young guys like, hey, fortunes can change quickly in this business. I like the move.
Optioning a Dalen Lyle or Robert Hassel III never made sense to me. That to me would have been moronic. So I never really seriously considered the Nats doing that, although, of course, until you see the move, you can't be certain of what the move will be. Jacob Young being optioned certainly was a possibility, but even that didn't make a ton of sense. He's still a young player. You still want to try to give him opportunity here at the major league level. It was Tena, or it was maybe something like this Lowe move. And the fact that it was the Lowe move, I think you do have to ask that question of, was there more here than just the bad performance? I also want to mention this. So the Nats DFAing Nathaniel Lowe makes him the fourth acquisition by the Nats from this past offseason who has gotten DFA'd or released by the Nats this season. The other three are relievers Colin Poche, Lucas Sims, and Jorge Lopez. Whatever you think about the Nats on July 6th firing Mike Rizzo as president of baseball operations and general manager, and yes, the offseason budget that he was given by the Lerner ownership group was paltry. Nobody's going to dispute that. But man, Rizzo had a terrible 2024-2025 offseason. I don't know how you categorize it any other way. 4 of his acquisitions from the offseason get cut during the season. Think about that. To say nothing of guys like, Josh Bell and Michael Soroka not exactly setting the world on fire this season. So, as I have said with this Nats baseball ops revamp, you don't have to pick a side, okay? The Lerners deserve a ton of blame, but so does Mike Rizzo, so did Davey Martinez and his coaching staff. Everyone shares in the blame for this season. But just specific to the Rizzo 2024-2025 offseason, yes, he was not given anywhere close to the budget that he should have been given. But also, yes, what he did with the money that he was given, not exactly super impressive.
Yeah, there was no Billy Beane finding Scott Hatterberg here this year for Mike Rizzo. Wretched year. I mean, he goes out with a complete whimper. Rizzo won so many trades, and we've talked about that over the years, but he lost this trade. And I brought this up, I believe, in April or May. And I know that Robert Garcia is having a really bad August and has slowed down for the Rangers, but that was a really weak bullpen already on paper, and he deals away Garcia in late December, and it was clear that they probably weren't going to address things until February once everyone got tight and brinksmanship came into play and everyone had to find a roster. So Garcia would have been of huge help to the Nats in April when they had very few arms in their A bullpen. And so this Lowe move here, I think, is very fitting for Rizzo's last year, even though, man, are we going to have some kind of chuckles over the years that he got DFA'd one day after hitting a grand slam when the team hadn't hit a grand slam in a year and a half. Kind of a funny way to go out.
It is, and it just goes to show you how even something like that meant nothing, okay? It meant absolutely nothing. The team still was looking to get rid of him. And I think that only furthers my suspicion that there's a lot more here than just the stats that Nathaniel Lowe was putting up. I do give you credit. You did bring that up a few months ago. And I was kind of like, hey, you do the thing of reliever for position player, assuming the position player is halfway decent. That's a trade you always make. And I do still believe that. The problem is the position player ended up not being halfway decent. And, I do wonder this, too. We wondered why the Rangers made that trade. Why do you trade a guy in Lowe who has been a consistently productive player over 4 seasons for a relief pitcher? Like, what sense does that make other than financial? And maybe the Rangers knew what they were doing when they did that, because while Garcia has not been awesome this season, he has been more valuable than Nathaniel Lowe. And Lowe now is gone from the Nats. Next up for the Nats, are the final 3 games of this 4-game series against the Phillies at Nationals Park. Game 2, Friday evening at 6:45. Mackenzie Gore will be the Nats starting pitcher. Game 3, Saturday afternoon at 4:05. Cade Cavalli will be the Nats starting pitcher. Game 4, Sunday morning at 11:35. In a Roku game, Mitchell Parker will be the Nats starting pitcher. You tell us what you think. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. You can find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email us, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. We have a website you could check out too, natschatpodcast.com, in which you could purchase a Nats Chat Podcast t-shirt. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. This installment of Nats Chat is brought to us by the great Mason Kalfas. He is the top legal recruiter in Washington, D.C. Mason has been with us since our first season. You can reach him at 202-486-3535. For Tim Shovers, I'm Al Galdi. We'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat Podcast, and we leave you now with the latest on the Nats AAA affiliate, the Rochester Red Wings. From the voice of the Red Wings, Josh Wetzel.
Here it comes. House clobbers a high drive the other way to right center field. Out near the wall. This is gone. House homers again, this time to right center. 12-1 Red Wings. That was a fastball up, out over the plate. And House tomahawked it. Time for a Rochester Red Wings update, and the Red Wings have been one of the best offensive teams in the second half of the season in the International League. However, they'd been held to 1 run in a loss on Sunday in Norfolk on just a Yo-Yo Morales homer, and also only 1 run in a loss Tuesday, starting a 2-week homestand. That changed around a little bit on Wednesday afternoon when they blew out Syracuse 14-3. Dylan Cruz played the 13th game of his rehab assignment, coming back from that oblique injury. Went 0 for 2 before coming out of the game for a pinch hitter. He's now 0 for his last 13 since a home run in Norfolk. Overall, in 13 games on the rehab assignment, Cruz hitting .244 with 2 homers and 7 batted in. Andres Chaparro hit a long home run Wednesday afternoon. The Red Wings first baseman /DH has connected for 7 home runs over his last 16 games. He's hit 13 long balls in only 44 games this year for the Red Wings, while knocking in 43 runs. So he's averaged right about an RBI a game in AAA. Christian Franklin, who was one of the trade acquisitions for the Nationals before the deadline, has hit .367 in his first 8 games for the Red Wings. The outfielder out of the University of Arkansas is batting .265 overall in the International League with 9 home runs. He is tied for the league lead with 68 walks, and his .393 on-base percentage ranks right around the top 10 to 15 in the IL. Nick Schnell, the former first-round pick of the Tampa Bay Rays out of high school, had been in a homer drought, going 11 straight games without a home run, his longest homerless streak for the Red Wings since joining the team in late May. That ended, though, with a 2-for-5 game featuring a double and a home run Wednesday afternoon. He's now hit 17 home runs for the Red Wings while compiling a .936 OPS in AAA this year. 19 home runs overall for Schnell between Harrisburg and Rochester. That is the most for any Nationals minor leaguer. Nasim Nunez on Tuesday had 3 stolen bases for the Red Wings. He now has a whopping 29 steals for the Wings in just 50 games, ranking in the top 10 in the league in the International League. Wednesday afternoon, Riley Cornelio picked up his first AAA win in his second AAA start. Former 7th-round pick out of TCU went 6 innings against Syracuse and allowed 4 hits and 3 runs without a walk. He's now 1-1 in his 2 starts in AAA. Overall this season, Cornelio, who started the year in Class A with Wilmington, is 6-5 with a 2.78 ERA across 3 levels, and he's only allowed 72 hits in 110 innings. And on the relief front, Holden Powell, a product of UCLA, has been pretty sharp lately. Over his last 6 games, he'd allowed just 1 run in 8 2/3 innings. 21 games overall for the Red Wings. His opponent's batting average is just .238, and his ERA with the Red Wings is 2.28. The only issue for Powell lately has been a few walks. And Eric Mejia, a converted position player, recently got promoted to the Red Wings after playing most of the last 2 years as a position player for the Wings. He has pitched in 3 games so far for Rochester. He's allowed 4 runs and 3 hits. This is after in 24 games in AA with Harrisburg, he compiled a .233 ERA. Mejia throws hard. His fastball's been registering anywhere between 95 to 98 miles an hour. This is Josh Wetzel with this Rochester Red Wings update. Breaking ball hammered towards center field. Thompson's going back. He's on the 1A track to the fence. It's gone! Yo-Yo Morales chucks the bat away, and the Red Wings win the ball game on Yo-Yo Morales' 3-run walk-off homer to the right of dead center field.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. That's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter.com/zip.